Hi, I used to be in a band called the Kings of Luxembourg, which basically had me on guitar, Paul from the Sultans on bass, and Liam from the Grunts. Liam is a veteran of the Cork rock scene. Great guy. Both Liam and Paul went to Prez with our friend Rory, the commandant of the US Navy Test Flight Academy. We were post-punk, pretty much post-punk. And, the eponymous hymns and arias from the terraces. We did a lot of writing. The writing duties were mainly myself, Paul and I. Basically, Liam was busy with the grunts. Didn't really want to, have to kind of do that. So it was me or myself and Paul did the writing. Lots of rehearsing. But music came together very quickly. But all the music was original. Everything was self-composed. No covers. So basically, we did a lot of open sessions where, people could just come along to our rehearsals, kind of like open little gigs and stuff like that. A lot of that. And then we did a few gigs. Very, very interesting. Worked out very well. Glad of the opportunity to do that. And then Grunts needed a bassist. And Paul filled those duties. Now, the Kings of Luxembourg, basically, that was the first band, as I said, Paul played in post-Sultans. Second band was the Grunts. Then I basically started, working kind of semblances of electronic rhythms. I'm kind of interested in Kid A, Radiohead type stuff. Aphex Twin, Square Pusher, and Kraftwerk. That interests me big time. And even when I was going around doing my stuff, those were my influences. Not primary, but they were influences. So I managed to get a set together. Kind of, electronic rhythms in juxtaposition to some vocalizations, some narratives, and, vocals and stuff. So basically, with a student of mine, really good guy, who helped me a lot with For Urban Landscapes, a chap called Erwin. Started looking at pubs, clubs, places, spaces to see, could we put on a bit of a electronic techno, well, minimal techno night. And basically, a friend of mine from the Triskel, a chap called Ben, great guy, said, this is something we're interested in. So basically, I met Ben, had a meeting with Ben. Ben was into it. But he said, listen, Triskel is under renovation, but we have a hold on the old ESB substation on Caroline Street. Would that be of interest to you? And I said, would it be okay to go down and have a look at it? So we went, I had a look, and I said, it's quite a fantastic space. So we did the gig, and nothing like I've ever seen. We had really good-looking women coming to the gig, good-looking girls coming to the show, which I had never really encountered before in the other stuff, and fashionistas, something I'm interested in. So, and movers and shakers from all over the city were coming down and having a peek and nodding the head every once in a while, and people were intrigued, quite taken by it. And I was like, this is quite cool. But from there came a great album of ours called Elektronische Musik, which is the boss of the label, Daniel Santini. It's one of his favorite albums. So that album was kind of cobbled together with me and produced by Danielle. But it basically came from our minimal techno endeavour in Cork. Now, I believe that this was the first minimal techno gig in Cork and one of the first minimal techno gigs in Ireland, which is kind of cool. So Elektronische Musik came from this project, but also another fantastic album called Elektro, which again is one of Daniel's favourites and is one of mine. Really, really good album, Elektro. And another album as well called Electronic Rhythms, Volume 1, also emanated from this project. Hopefully, I'll talk some more about these later on. But again, like to thank Ben, like to thank Erwin, like to thank Paul, like to thank Liam. Thank you very much, and thank you for listening.